pretty damn cool. But let's get into the Arnold South America, because I just saw another guy pop up. I'll bring up the competitors list here. And a lot of names on here that some of you guys might not know, the ones that stand out straight away. Stan, you mentioned to me before the show started Wellington, and man, I love his physique. He's a Brazilian competitor. You got Vitor Both, who's obviously prepped by Milos Sarcev. He competed in the Olympia just gone. You got Emir Omeragic, who's prepped by Chris Bumstead, and he's only 23, I think, years of age. Maybe he's 24 now, I'm not sure. And then you got Behrooz Tabani, who has to be the favourite going into this one. Qualified for last year's Olympia, not able to make it there. I believe he's Iranian. Yep, Iran. There on the competitors list. So I'll be covering this show all weekend as well on Desktop Bodybuilding. So everyone make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell button as well. And who knows, I might get one of you guys on to do a bit of a live with me if you want to jump in. But there's some really good competitors because let me pull up this guy. It was on Buys and Tries, I believe it was. I haven't seen this guy before in my life, but Josef, he looks nuts. I mean, do you guys know much about him? Does anyone know much?
No, I saw him on Bodybuilder Without Borders. Like, I was just impressed. He just has a captivating physique.
Last year. I think he won. I think he won his pro card at this show last year.
Okay, yeah.
He looked impressive last year. He's pretty tall, but I'll be interested to see how he stands up against these other pros, other open guys.
I think this is where maybe he falls down a little bit in those legs from the back, but for a tall guy, he's still packing a lot of muscle, especially from the front.
And I think that's a good show for him because I don't think there's any mass monster really from like the people I know. At least it's all like very aesthetic guys. So
yeah, no, I think he'll do well.
Yeah, Chad, what do you think? I mean, this guy obviously, you're a coach to the pros. What do you think?
He's got that mature look to the muscle too. I mean, you can tell like he gets in shape. With every tall guy for the most part. I mean, he's going to have, shots where he thins out a little bit. You could see it from the back and everything. But overall, I mean, he's got good separation, got good detail. He's got some freaky body parts on him. So, I mean, I don't see why he, shouldn't be right up in there. Yeah, I mean, he looks good. I seen him. First time I seen him was just the other day on one of the websites, and I kind of thought like, man, this is kind of a new guy too. Like, there's just a lot of guys that are kind of all of a sudden just kind of popping up,
Yeah, there is a ton. And for people who are saying that Classic is going to destroy open bodybuilding, I mean, I think open bodybuilding is the strongest it's been in many, many years now. And this is another guy, we're talking about guys we don't really know that well, but aren't household names. And you got this guy competing, Wellington, who I believe actually, Stan, I think you said he placed second last year to Raphael, potentially?
Potentially, yeah, but apparently he just got his pro card there. When was that post?
That was 43 weeks ago.
Oh, so I don't know if it was a pro bodybuilding show or if it's what he got actually like second. No, that's the pro card. That's the pro card. So that's might be why we saw him. So maybe he hasn't competed as a pro yet.
Yeah, perhaps not. Wait, I think he might have actually, because I remember covering this dude last year. So I just remember he looked really good. I knew he didn't win, but he was sort of right up there in one of these shows, and very, very impressed because he's got the round muscle bellies. He's got a small waist. He looks really dense. Almost reminds me a little bit of like a Mark Dugdale from back in the day, maybe a slightly taller version of Mark Dugdale. Chad, what do you think about this guy? Because I think he looks fantastic.
I mean, this is the first time I've ever seen him, but I mean, definitely, overall looks good. I mean, again, like he needs to fill out in some areas a little bit and overall, but I mean, structure is good. Decently, muscle conditioning's not bad. Like,
yeah, I think he's just one of these guys that overall he just needs more size, but
time, more muscle tissue.
Yeah, for sure. But
Classic Physique, what you just said, I think I've said that many years ago, but it's not gonna like take over bodybuilding, but it's influencing it heavily. Like when you see the physique, like the last year of the Olympia, like there's so much more like streamlined, like waist and like I think that's the influence of Classic Physique.
Yeah, and I think it's a good thing, honestly. Like, I think overall it's good. What do you think about it, Chad? Like moving more that sort of, it seems at least, maybe it's just for competitors that are competing, but it seems guys are putting more emphasis on aesthetics, and it seems like it's being rewarded, obviously, with Samson winning the Arnold.
Yeah, I think that, Classic has a place because, not everybody wants to put in the time and do the things you have to do to become an open bodybuilder. Classic is one of those things that, is a little bit It's an easier path to the pros for sure. And I know I'm going to take some shit for that, but it just, you don't have to invest as much time as it would take to get to open bodybuilding. And the classic guys, I think, for 1-2 is some of these guys are going to use it as a stepping stone. I mean, you're going to see young guys go to classic first. They're going to hit classic. You're going to do the thing there. Then they're going to progress into the open. And we've already seen several guys do that. I think, you'll see that a lot, although there will be some guys that will stay in the classic based off of just the genetic structure and, ability to, whether they don't want to get big or they just want to stay in that, kind of smaller range. But I think it's needed. I think that, we need that as far as, those stepping stones into those types of things. Same with physique. I think, a lot of people don't like physique. I think physique is incredible. And I think that, when you look at the genetic structure of the guys in physique right now, most of them are all like genetically gifted athletes. And, some of those guys will then progress on to classic. Some of them won't. Just depends. But I think that, again, it's just a stepping stone.
Yeah, for sure. I think men's physique could be a much bigger class as well. Just quickly touching on that, I compete in it, so I might as well speak on it. But I think it could be much bigger if maybe there's some big personalities in it. Don't get me wrong, but if the personalities of the men's physique guys seem very different to the guys in the classic and very different from the guys in the open as well. So I'm definitely drawn more to the personalities that are in the open and in the classic as opposed to the personalities that are in the men's physique. But that's just me. I mean, I know men's physique has a huge amount of fans.
I mean, when you look at classic, you're going to see a lot of guys within social media. And I mean, because it's more, I think guys relate to it very easily because there's 15 of those guys in every gym. There's 15 guys that you see in a gym that look phenomenal. They look like a classic physique guy, whether they compete or not. And those are going to be a lot of the physiques that guys like. So you're going to see a lot of that on social media. But when it comes right down to it, like if you're talking bodybuilding shows, you're talking, what people want to see, it's always going to be the open guys. I don't care what anybody says. It's always going to be the open guys.
Well, you look at the popularity of like Chris Bumstead now. He's got I don't know what it is now, 16 million followers more. Like that is top celebrity level in terms of popularity. And I've heard stories from, Brett Wilkin, and he's, trained with him just recently. And he said they're walking down the street in Miami one day and it's like people just started following him. And he's like, we've got to pick up the pace here. Like we had to be somewhere. And it's like, when you're at the point where people are following you and recording you in restaurants, like that is huge popularity. But the fact that the open is still more popular says a lot about what people really, really want to see on stage and what people just want to see on stage. I mean, I want to see the classic no matter what. I think it's awesome, but open's better.
Bumstead is popular. It's not that when I look at his physique, and look at like all of these weaknesses within his physique. But again, he has a very eye-appealing physique. So he has that core area, that shoulder to waist ratio, that is unbelievable looking. Does he? He has very weak arms. He has very weak legs from the front. But when you look at everything, he has a physique that is very eye-appealing. But his fame is all based off of an image. It's what people see. It's what people think, and that's where really bodybuilding and granted his winning the Olympia definitely catapulted him into that social media fame and all of that popularity, but it's not really based off of, I don't think like being the freakiest bodybuilder or, classic physique guy to ever walk the planet. Because we've seen structural guys that way beyond him. But I think what he's been able to accomplish social media wise, and then it just spiraled and it's an image that everybody has in their head of him, has kind of catapulted him into this next level of fame.
There's a charisma there, like he's got that it factor, a little bit like Arnold back then. If you really look at his physique and critique the physique, he has like weaknesses.
Yeah,
even his waist not that small, but he had that charisma that took him like everywhere.
It's kind of a unique look. Like when you think classic now, you think of him. Like it's just imprinted in you. Like that's like the CBUM name was catchy right off the bat. Like everything fell into place that it needed to. And again, he's got a great physique. Don't get me wrong, he's got a great physique. But his look is actually better. Like his eye appealing look is better than genetically he is. It's just how he looks and appears on stage that is better than the genetics are.
No, I agree. It's a lot about relatability as well, because the way Chris sort of came up, like doing his YouTube videos, he's very real, he's very honest, he's self-deprecating, he's got so many things that there's no reason not to like the dude. Like, you cannot not like Chris Bumstead. And plus, he's a good-looking dude, plus he's got a sick physique. It's just everything, you know? He's just got everything working for him, plus he's Mr. Olympia.
Like, very, like, almost shy, or kind of like, I don't want to say
reserved.
Yeah, like he's very like, it's not like he's socially outgoing. There's like outgoing, like big time, like, you know, personality. He's very just like the guy next door, very calm, very, you know, just like not that big boisterous, like, you know, personality. And I think people like that. Like they, you know, they see vulnerability in him. They see, you know, flaws in him, and that just builds the appeal of him.
Yeah.
Which is really okay. I find this super interesting. I've talked about this with some of my boys before, but it's interesting how in almost every other sport, the guy that seems the least vulnerable is usually the favorite. Like in boxing, you know, Mike Tyson. In MMA, it's Conor McGregor. Like you want the warrior with the least amount of chinks in his armor to be your warrior. But then, and even me, like growing up watching bodybuilding, I wasn't going to watch the guy losing. I was going to watch the guy training harder than everybody else, which was Ronnie, doing the things that nobody else was doing. But like, which, don't get me wrong, Chris trains hard, and he actually has done some really impressive lifts. But there's classic physique guys that are probably training way harder than Chris and are way less vulnerable, like way more hardcore. But that's not actually appealing to the classic physique crowd. Like, it's different, kind of the, you know what I mean? Like the Ronnie Coleman Metroflex fans are not Chris Bumstead.
Those are not that hardcore group is not the classic physique guys. Like those guys that go in and just want to grind and just fight in the gym, like just for every, you know, ounce of muscle. And that's not the classic physique guys. Not that they don't train hard, but those guys are just a different group. And, you know, and the thing with, you know, Bumstead too, is again, like his personality, but his, like what you see in him, like he's taller than the rest of the guys. So he just kind of has this kind of bigger, you know, kind of image on stage. It just kind of jumps out at you. And I mean, like from the get-go, I mean, you look at phenomenal, like, you know, Terrence and Breon and all these guys, genetically like gifted athletes, phenomenal, but yet a little bit shorter, not that height on stage, not that shoulder to waist, like all of that just stands out on Bumstead. And that's hard to get over. Like that's hard to get past. For somebody to beat him, they will have to be a taller guy. They will have to have that wide shoulders and that look, good looking guy. Like it'll take somebody like that for sure.
Because even Ramon and Horst, they're both tall, but they don't have that width.
No, you can see, like, I mean, genetically, they're probably both superior athletes when you're looking at top to bottom muscle group, just pure muscle group. But they don't have that shoulder to waist ratio that Chris has. Like, you know, this, just that look, just that again is just a unique look, and he's able to pull that off. And I mean, the thing is, really, so when you break down like his arms and legs, yes, they're both weak, but without that, if both those muscle groups were big, I don't know if you can make the, you know, make the weight barrier or whatever. It's probably because how everything is, that, you know, he's a little thinner in the quads from the front, arms aren't freaky, those things like that allows him to kind of make that weight and kind of still be able to kind of, you know, in that. And it's really his core and that shoulder to waist ratio that's, you know, really dominating. Obviously from the side, his side leg is freaky too. So I mean, there's no doubt that side leg is freaky. I mean, it's just everything. You see this, you see that, and it's just hard to beat him then, just when you start breaking everything down.
Yeah, absolutely. And he said as well, it might not be too far away from the end for Chris Bumstead, because he assume he wants to have kids at some point soon. And he's also said, but he's not going to go after, I think he said, I'm not going to go for 7, 8, 9, you know, classic Olympia titles. And he's already got 4. So that means, what has he got, maximum of 2 more? I'm not sure.
accomplished a lot within the industry. I know he's got a brand now and he's working in that direction. And so you've got to think that, and I mean, he's been injured a bunch. So, I mean, he injured the leg, he injured the arm. Like eventually, you're going to have to kind of think what's the best, longevity wise to do. And I mean, he's already accomplished pretty much everything that he needs to accomplish. He's still going to be popular. I mean, you look at Jay Cutler, who, retired, is still one of the most popular, athletes out there. I mean, he stays active, he stays, engaged and just, does his thing. And I could see Bumstead doing that exact same thing in the very near future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's, for Chris as well, it's going to be on a much wider reach because, I mean, he might, obviously as, his fans get older, he's got a lot of very young fans, but I think that's part of a reason why he's so popular too, because it's in the YouTube era. And also he shows all his vulnerabilities. Like you said, it makes him like the guy next door. He's got a lisp, so he doesn't hide from it. He sort of exposes it. I think he gives these younger guys more confidence. And even though he's the champ, he still sort of has that underdog mentality. And he came from being an underdog to coming up through the ranks and then obviously winning that Classic Physique Olympia title. And he's still a pretty young dude as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not that old, really. So, I mean, he's accomplished a lot within a very short period of time. And, I mean, again, like you said, he's the most popular guy right now in the industry. Like, clearly the most popular.
Yeah, but we'll get back. We got sidetracked off the Arnold Classic there, but that was a very interesting conversation. But let's get back to this, and I want to feature this guy here, Emir Omeragic, 3 weeks out here. Obviously, it's not really a physique update, but 23 years of age, I believe he is right now, prepped by Chris Aceto. I assume you've maybe seen this guy before, Chad, but what's your thoughts on Emir Omeragic? I'll bring up some more. I believe Chris actually posted a recent photo, which I'll try to find as well.
So if this is the guy I'm thinking of, like he has progressed a lot in the last year. If this is the guy that I'm thinking of, he had decent structure before, but he's put on a ton of muscle over the last year or so. Based off of the last few pictures that I've seen of him and stuff. And again, like he looks like he's a taller guy. He's got a ton of muscle. It's hard to see sometimes if they're tall or not. But yeah, it's he's. I mean, where's he from?
Let me look at the competitors list. I'm not sure where he's from. I know he's some sort of European, I think. What was that?
He's from somewhere in Europe, like Poland or Europe.
Montenegro.
Huh.
Never would have guessed it, but there you go. But he's actually living in Brazil now, I believe, or at least he's been staying over there for a while. So he's obviously going to have some support there, competing in Brazil, doing that as well. But yeah, he's a very impressive competitor, and 23 years of age, this guy could be, he could be anything, at that young, looking that good. But we've seen it time and time before where guys peak early and they don't continue, and then we've seen guys obviously that peak early and continue on their career and look phenomenal. But Marty, what's your thoughts on Emir?
Oh, I think this kid's really impressive, man. We talked about him before we got on, but I think really all he's lacking is just a little bit of muscle maturity, and it's obviously coming very quickly for him. He is a taller guy. I know he's really, really big, and it takes a long time to refine those bigger bodies like that, man. So he's just gonna, being 23 or 24 years old, whatever he is, it's just gonna take a couple more years. I mean, that's something I'm running into right now. It's like you can't make it go any faster than it happens, man. It matures on its own. It's not really, you can train your ass off and you can eat all the food and everything like that and do the necessary steps, but it only comes as fast as it comes. Yeah,
for sure. Stan, what's your thoughts?
No, he looks great. I mean, especially at that age, being tall, you already feel that a lot is for him, and he's got pretty good, muscle maturity. I mean, unless it's filtered, but it looks like it's not. So.
Yeah, for 23, that was one thing I was just about to say when you finished talking, was the fact that he has pretty good muscle maturity for probably the best just about I've ever seen for a 23-year-old in terms of having that mature look. And the fact that he's tall and he's filled out his fat frame to this level. Some people mention he needs a little bit more leg maybe and whatnot, but I think that he's filled out very, very well and he's got a great level of maturity. I'm assuming that he started training when he's 12 years old or something, because you don't just build that in 2 years.
And it looks, this type of muscle is usually somebody that trains heavy too, because this is dense muscle, you know what I mean? So.
Absolutely. Now, next guy this guy has some pretty dense muscle as well, and that's Vitor Both. He actually did very well last year. He won a pro show. He made it to the Olympia, and he's probably one of the more underrated guys, I'd say, in the pro league right now, because no one really talks about him much. He's a Brazilian guy, so I'm sure he gets talked about plenty in Brazil. But what's your thoughts on this guy? I'll go to you first, Marty, because he's a guy that I think that, can walk into some pro shows, and had he competed in, I'd say a few pro shows last year, he still could have got the win. So what's your thoughts on him in this show? Can he challenge Behrooz?
Yeah, man, I absolutely think so. This guy's secret weapon is his conditioning, which is also Behrooz' secret weapon, So I think he'll battle with him. Structurally, he's not as big as Behrooz is. Like, I know Behrooz' shoulders are insanely wide, bro. Like, his structure is insane. So he's definitely top dog, and he's gonna be the guy to chase down. But this dude with his thickness, if he improved and put on some size from the Olympia, I think he could really do some damage, man. And he gets peeled, which is, that's the biggest factor in the pro leagues as far as I'm concerned. If you can do that, you can place top 5 in just about any show, even if you're a little guy.
Yeah, and this is 10 days out, but I will say something. This looks like shocking lighting, because there's no like downlight or anything like that. So I think this is making him look much softer than he actually is, because like you said, he's a guy that comes in condition all the time. And I've got updates like this from clients before, and I've been worried. I'm like, can you take a photo in different lighting? And then I see the other lighting, and I'm like, oh, okay, no, it's okay. And I'm assuming Milos will not be bringing this guy in out of condition. I have almost no doubt about that. So he's 261.5 pounds here.
Well, that's the one thing, though. I think it's his first time working with Milos, so maybe those he'll figuring out he's
possible.
You said 261?
Yeah, 261.5. He said he was. So I don't know. This was posted a week ago as well. So sorry.
He's got to be taller than I thought he was.
Yeah, I'm not sure how tall this dude is, but it's hard to sort of tell. But yeah, he can bring a freaky physique to the stage, and if he's able to nail that conditioning with the fullness, I think he'll do well. But yeah, I can't say that I'm any more excited to see him on stage by this physique update, but like I said, I think it's absolutely crap lighting, to be honest.
He's always in shape, though. He gets really hard and dry.
Yeah.
Anything, like, he could definitely be a little bit bigger, and it's freaky too, because like he looks big in these shots and stuff, but on stage I thought he still looked a little thin. The thing that I noticed is, even as like hard and as dense as he was on stage, he still needed more depth, like separation, depth to the muscle. That was the one thing that I noticed right off the bat, is that he kind of had that where the skin didn't suck into the separations and stuff. And so that's where he kind of really fell off way, at the like at the Olympia or whatever. And so that's, if they can improve that a little bit and just fill out that muscle a little bit more, give it a little bit more depth, and really kind of nail that, fullness. And we know, like, he's going to be as full as he possibly can, because he's Milos. We know he's going to be full, so it would probably benefit, because he's always in shape and he's always dry. So that will probably benefit him a lot coming into the show.
Yeah.
Milos will definitely be giving him the hyperemia protocol for this one. But this was 4 weeks ago, and he looks actually harder in this physique update than he did in that new one. So I'm assuming that that's just a lighting issue, because this definitely looks more conditioned here. But let's chat about the favorite, Behrooz Tabani. He's been putting up some updates. He looks freaky. He's got a very crazy structure, very crazy shape. Beat Brett Wilkin last year, and Brett Wilkin was his best ever in great condition there.
This is Milos's guy.
This is Milos's guy too. So I'm assuming this guy is the favorite. I'm assuming he will take this title. He'll be my prediction to win. I suppose, Marty, do you think anyone can beat Behrooz?
Not in this show. I honestly don't think so, man. I think this guy's very refined. I think he could have even maybe cracked the top 10 at the Olympia, to be honest. I want to see this guy stand next to some heavy hitters, to be honest, because obviously I know Brett is incredible, but I haven't got to see Brett really stand next to super heavy hitters with the physique that he has now. We did see him at the Arnold, 2 years ago, but that's not the Brett that just won the show. So, him and Brett battled neck and neck, and I think it'd be interesting to see him against, top 10 guys, because he's an incredible bodybuilder. I do think that this is his show. I don't see anybody coming in and really even giving him too much heat, but we'll see.
Yeah, I wish he didn't take his physique updates from like a kilometer away from the camera. That would be handy, or a mile, as you guys would say. But You can see, obviously, here a bit of a closer up photo. Chad, what do you think about Behrooz? Do you think anyone can beat him?
No, I mean, here's the thing. He's at a different level right now than the majority of the guys in the show. He's just, he's structurally sound. He's very complete. I mean, if there's a knock on him, I thought last year when he competed against Brett, I thought he could have had a little bit bigger quads, but he's in such good balance that it's not like it's like a standout weak point. But I thought that he could have been a little bit, fuller quad sweep and everything. But overall, like his balance from top to bottom, like all of his muscle is complete. Like you're not really drawn to anything like overpowering. Really a structurally great physique, honestly. And it was a shame that he wasn't able to, go to the Olympia because of, like I guess his visa or whatever wasn't approved. But yeah, I mean, I would just say that right now with the lineup that we've seen for the Arnold, this guy would be just the next level above everybody that's in it right now.
Yeah, for sure. I love his house as well, those red lights around the top of a room, but he's looking fantastic. I don't see anyone beating Behrooz in this show, but you never know. There's a few good guys in there that could, you never know, like if some of these guys make crazy improvements, they could, come close. But
this guy's good enough. I mean, if you look at this guy's physique right now and he puts on, let's say 10 or 15 more pounds, like this guy's a major threat at like the big shows. Like he's that good. Like
I think so.
Yeah.
That's why I think, Brett Wilkin has sort of gone underrated almost a little bit, because had Behrooz not bet him that show last year and he went in and won those last two shows of the year, people would have been just going crazy for Brett Wilkin. Because I think even Brett in his second show that he did and where he actually won it last year, he beat out I think it was 3 guys that was competing in that upcoming Olympia. And
Adria Presti, Mo Shaban.
Oh, yeah. Stan. With the knowledge, I forget all that shit straight after I record it. But yeah, so let's get into some predictions. I'll bring up the list once again because I'm sort of forgetting which guys are in it. So I'm going to do these literally off the hip. So I'll go first. I'm going to say Behrooz Tabani. I'll put him in first. In second, I'm going to say Vitor Both. I think obviously being from Brazil as well, that will maybe help a little bit. In third, I'll say Wellington. Fourth, I'll say Emir Omeragic. And in fifth, I'll say, who was that dude that looked really good before? Josef. Josef. So I'll put him in fifth. Is there anyone else, Stan, that we should be mentioning in this in particular?
There's no other name that like I recommend. Oh, I think that Silva is a 212 guy actually.
Okay.
Unless it's the same, but so we should be smaller. But he's got a good physique. But he's way smaller. If that's the guy I'm thinking.
We'll go with those names anyway. So I'm going to write down these predictions and we'll update people on the next Bodybuilding University that's on after this one. So, Marty, I'll let you go second. Who do you have in this show?
Behrooz. One, no question. I think Victor will get second. I'm going to give Emir the third. I think maybe he pulls one out. He's a young kid, and him and Cedar are doing good.
Yeah.
Then I'll go Wellington. And then I'm going to go with this dude from Kuwait, just as a random.
Do you know who he is?
I have no clue. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, so don't fucking let me down.
Awesome. I love it. Total guess. Stan, who have you got in your top 5?
I have it set up like you, like Behrooz, Vitor, Wellington.
I had yeah, cool, awesome. That's easy.
Behrooz is just he's got a beautiful physique, very old school looking, no weakness. And I think like Chad was mentioning before, like his legs were a little on the downsize, like a little smaller last year, but it seems like they improved for this show. So not much you can say, but and he's gonna be in condition, so.
Yeah, and it's not like his legs are so grossly undersized or anything like that, but it's just such a big...
He really flows very well. Like, he's got nothing missing. His back shot is really, really good, too. So,
yeah, for sure. Chad, who have you got in this one? I'll just bring up the list again for you.
Shit, man. I think Behrooz is going to win easily. I think he'll win it. And then second, I mean, I would say Vitor, just because he's right there. But I think there's both of the guys that you guys were talking about. Well, who was the new guy? Was that Wellington?
Yeah.
The guy was kind of dense.
No, that was what, Joseph.
Oh, Joseph. That was the guy with the like the red starburst tattoo on his elbow. Or something?
Yes,
That was, yeah, Joseph.
Joseph. I could see Joseph third. I could see him behind Vitor, possibly, depends, and then probably Emir,
me.
and then
Nice.
and then Wellington.
Nice. I like it. I like that you mixed it up, Chad, because I was considering putting Joseph up there, but I pussied out basically.
He's a taller guy, so those guys have like a wow factor to them sometimes. So I mean, you just never know.
Yeah,
as long
absolutely.
as he doesn't stringy, yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Bodybuilding University. If you did enjoy it, give a video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you won't miss out on any episodes of Bodybuilding University and any videos from desktop bodybuilding, including my series like Who Wins, where I face bodybuilders up against each other. Also daily bodybuilding news live, where I go daily and I go live on there, and you guys can interact with me in the comments, give it likes and give your opinions as well. So make sure you do subscribe, and it'd be much appreciated. And that's it for us here at Bodybuilding University. So for all of us at Bodybuilding University and myself, Xavier Wills, we are out.